Hey, welcome to the Board Game Rundown. I'm Spencer.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Caleb.
And this is Return to Dark Tower. It is the long-awaited sequel to Dark Tower, the 80s game. It's by Restoration Games, and we're going to review this guy. I'm just going to go out and say I own this. I've got everything I have for it right now, and I've played it many, 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 many times.
You have played the tar out of it.
Yes. So, first we're going to go over how to play this. Oh, well, before that, subscribe, ring the bell, tell your friends, comment, do all the good stuff.
Yes.
So, first we're going to go over how to play.
Okay. So, how do we play? First off, to give you a little rundown on the base mechanics, this is a primarily cooperative 1 to 4 player experience where you download an app either through iPhone or Android. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's either one.
Yes. And based on your based on the monsters that you choose, you get guided through a one-off story or a mission or a quest. This is not a campaign game.
It's
which,
like as close to a campaign as you can get.
Yeah, it feels like a campaign, but anyway, Return to Dark Tower is an area placement or an area movement, cooperative primarily. You can do
resource management, kind of
resource management, and it's just an insidiously overflowing of monsters on the board, and you have to manage your resources as everything kind of grows on the board, trying to wipe out your plans. Now, while the board is getting flooded, your character sheet can also get flooded. So it is a battle against time. Namely, you have 6 months, 6 random rounds.
Yeah. So the first month is going to be
game.
one turn each. From then on, it's a random number that averages 2 or 3 turns per player.
Yeah.
So, but that's average, and that's for 4 players. It changes depending on how many players you have.
Yeah.
We played this 2, and
You and I played 2-player
at
last
first
night.
I made the mistake of saying, "Oh, this is so much easier," and then it almost killed us.
We were biting our nails, and it came down to basically the last move due to a lucky technicality in the rule that allowed us to move a character in a specific way that we would have lost if we didn't read the card very specifically.
Yeah.
So something that's really cool about this game is this huge tower. At first, this just looks like something gimmicky, but what is fantastic about this is it is a Bluetooth tower that syncs up with your tablet or any sort of device that you're using.
Well, we'll get into that in a moment because I first want to point out these character sheets.
Sure.
See if we can get one under here.
Yep. We have some pictures of it we can actually just show at the moment.
Okay.
Just so you can actually see what we're talking about here.
So on the character sheet is basically how you play the game. Mm-hmm. The top is at the beginning of everyone's turn. They have a banner action, and it could be gain a potion, it could be gain a spirit, or get a bunch of warriors, which are basically
it's like a passive ability.
Yeah, it's a passive ability, and so spirit and warriors are basically your money.
Yeah, your 2 forms of currency that you use to either complete quests or fight monsters or otherwise power yourself up.
And then you have these 3 middle action movements. You can mix them up however you want. You can split the movement up. Everyone has a different move number. It's usually 3 or 4. Then you can choose one of these actions, cleansing, which removes skulls, which you want to do because if too many skulls are on a building, it explodes. And you gain a corruption if it's in your area. And if you have 3 corruptions, everyone loses the game. Also, if one explodes, you can't use its ability anymore. And the skulls go away. And if you run out of skulls, everyone loses the game.
Just to clarify, each of these buildings give you some sort of perk that allow you to enhance either your resources or gives you some sort of little item that is helpful to you, holding back the horde of monsters coming your way.
And speaking of the horde of monsters, you can battle them. So if we moved over here, here's a Mormo, and you would go into the app over here, and we'll showcase that in a moment.
It's really cool.
And
it's really cool.
You get to to fight it by using your resources. And the last one is a quest. There are quests around the place, like this tower, and they do multiple things, but usually it's either you're giving up a bunch of resources or you have to go through some kind of dungeon, which is all in the app. The dungeon is like rooms. You get to choose which room you're going in as you're going through the dungeon. It's pretty cool. And after those, you can use a building action. The Citadel, the Village, the Sanctuary, and the Bazaar. And like they all have one action that's for free, and then they all have an action that costs virtue. Not virtue, spirit.
The blue resource.
The blue resource. And some of these are very important. Like you want to unlock your virtues, which give you extra powers. And you want to remove your corruptions, so you don't die like we just did.
We won.
And we have treasure
Right.
and gear over there that you can purchase, and you have only so many. And basically you go through until you either win or the game kills you.
So the game ends when either you win or lose.
Yeah.
And
you win or you die.
Yeah, you win or you get overcome, and it's fair. It's not overwhelming, and when you lose, you know what you did wrong, and you can.
Yeah. Like this last time, I know what I could have done. It might not have been enough, but it would have lasted a little bit longer.
The tower makes noises. If
Lots of
you can
noises.
hear that, and they're
We'll showcase
they're
that too.
so you can change the sound that the tower makes. Some of them are awesome. Some of them are corny based on the person.
So that is the basic play of the game. And I guess we'll go into components.
Components.
What's in the box?
So I'm going to go over the components here, but first, what do you guys think of the components?
So I think they're great. I mean, the minis look awesome. They're sun dropped, which is always nice. The skulls, same deal. Like the detailing, detailing just looks really nice.
Really
For full disclosure, these minis do not come with the base game.
None of them do.
Well, the characters do.
Okay.
The other minis do not. They're just cardboard tokens.
Okay.
But they tell you everything about the monster on them. They have the good artwork, and they're pretty robust tokens.
Do the skulls come with the base game?
The skulls come with the base game.
Okay, that's huge. The skulls are gorgeous.
The
What
skulls
about
are
the
gorgeous.
3D buildings? Does that come with
They
the
come with the base game.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, excellent.
Um,
Yeah, but I mean,
this is one of the monsters. That's the dragon. And you would place it down here, so you know there's a dragon there.
right.
And it tells you right here, it's a melee and a beast. So, and level 4, so you draw 4 cards when you're fighting it.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I think the components are great. Obviously, the showstopper here is the tower, and everything it can do and does, and that's obviously the huge thing of it. But all the rest of the components are really nice, very very robust. The 2 currencies are both nice, thick cardboard cutouts, and those are nice. You have it upgraded here with the plastic ones, which are also really nice.
Yeah.
You upgraded everything,
Yeah,
which is
And actually, what
Gorgeous.
I really call attention to is these like virtue placards. These are nice and thick, and they're not. I don't think they're going to wear very quickly.
No.
And they didn't have to do that.
I mean, I've played it 20 times, and it still looks
It looks
really
brand
good
new.
for 20 times.
Yeah.
We also, the sleeves don't necessarily come with it, but I highly recommend you sleeve these, because this isn't a game where you're going to be messing around with the cards, but you still want to be in really good condition.
Sure. And I wouldn't necessarily agree with you on that. Like shuffling games, 100%. Your
I have
sleeves,
a problem.
your sleeves are
shuffling sleeves.
gorgeous. Oh, you don't like shuffling sleeves? That's the
No.
best part of having the sleeves is to shuffle them. But these are stationary cards, and even with my really nice games, if I'm not shuffling them all the time, I don't necessarily find a need for them. But eye of the beholder. These are gorgeous sleeves, and
gorgeous
all the
sleeves.
more power to you for having those. But I mean, if you really care about your product, then totally sleeve it up. But you are not, just to clarify, you are not shuffling these cards by any means. So
Not terribly often.
Um,
The cards themselves are nice. I mean, it's got good art on them, and actually, the
linen check, linen check.
right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and actually, the cards themselves are nice.
No
we have
linen.
2 different
No
size
linen.
cards. It's not linen,
But
it looks nice.
I don't like the 2 different size cards, and then it makes it harder to get sleeves for if you don't get the very
mean the
specific
minis?
ones.
The mini ones, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I see it in enough games. It's come to be standard, I suppose. But
Sure.
Any other thoughts on the components?
I think the components are great. This the board is great. I mean, the clock or the dark tower is beautiful. Little flimsy on the player boards. Could be a little thicker, but I mean,
Does what it's meant to do.
it does what it's meant to do, and I've got no glaring
Yeah, and
problems with.
it's like a nice like smooth surface
yeah,
laminated.
yeah. I mean, it does its job.
It's not dual layer,
It's not dual layer. Yeah. I don't think you would need dual layer except for these little
unless you're Bob.
virtues. Yeah, unless you're Bob. Or me. I do like the dual layer. But fantastic quality. This thing is going to last. It is a tank.
Yeah, I saw some of the stuff of how they build this, and I was impressed.
Yeah.
It
No
really
12-volt adapter. You do need batteries for it.
Three
so
double A's. It'll last you 3 to 4 games, but each game is going to be about 2 hours, hour and a half.
Biggest downside right there.
But this thing is a work of art. I wish we could zoom in on this. But this guy is a Bluetooth machine. Something we
I'll
failed to
manipulate-
mention
yeah, we'll do
is
that.
something we failed to mention at the end of your turn. You drop a skull into the tower, and the tower chooses where this skull will pop out, which is how everything
Yeah.
kind of builds
And
up.
it might get stuck behind one of these seals, and if it does, the tower will sometimes rotate. The seal comes out, and you get like 5 of these skulls pouring into your area. Yeah.
I think it's fantastic that you've got these light up chambers that
Oh yeah.
you can remove these doors and
And I've seen
skulls
people
fly
paint
out.
these. Yeah.
This is one of those games where it is not a gimmick.
It is not a
The
gimmick.
thing you're working with here, it is part of the game. It makes the game. There's no way you could play this game
Without this.
without
no,
this.
no.
I don't even know how they did it back in the 80s. This must have been a completely
I've never
different
played it.
game.
I think it was a completely different game.
Yeah.
I've not played the original.
Maybe they took the theme and they were like, "Oh, we could do a
Yeah.
tower, something
Yeah.
with this." So,
So I wanted to say first we have the book. It's Bob. Look, it's book shaped. The book is. I've never had a problem with what it has. Once in a blue moon, there's a question that it doesn't answer, and then logic usually answers it for you. It does have rules for competitive play, which we haven't used.
So this can be
You can make this
a
competitive.
primarily
competitive game.
cooperative.
Okay, Jesse
but-
may play it then.
I'm more than willing to try it. I haven't done it yet. But I have no problem with the book. The book is great. And
Beautiful box.
the box.
Whoa,
Oh.
gorgeous.
The insert on this thing is the most unique, special, amazing insert. So it has space.
The best part is somewhere it comes with instructions.
It comes with instructions on how to put it
Over
all in. Yeah, right there are the instructions. You put the tower in here, you put all your things in here, and then there's this very nicely molded piece of plastic that goes on top. And on top of this, you have your other characters which fit right here. And on top of this, you put the book. And on top of that, there's these 2 little things here. You fold the map up, and it fits perfectly in here, and it kind of locks everything in place. So I've never had like things shifting around in this box. I love this insert.
Nice.
It is fantastic insert. Yeah, and then we also have to go over the app because that's part of the game. I'll put this over here for
I'll
now.
take it. Yeah.
So we actually can show you the app. Right now, we'll start a new game just so we can see what it's like. So we have to first connect to the tower.
Oh, is it going to make that?
And yeah, it has just turned on.
It gives you an audio
It will
response.
now calibrate, so it's going to do some sound, light, rotating the bits. If you look carefully, you can see bits rotating.
We should cut the lights. That would be scary.
Oh, that would be cool. That's a good point. Oh, now it's telling us it's ready to play. And continue. And now we choose cooperative or competitive, which difficulty, the expansions. Yeah, it's a single player game as well. So you choose what your goal is going to be, and there are there are a few of them, or you can just do random. And so we'll select it. Then you choose who your foe is.
this is where it doesn't necessarily feel like a campaign, but each time you play, it feels like a new game.
Oh yeah,
Like
because there's so many different options.
there's people that spawn spores across the whole map. There are people that what did the gazer guy do?
Oh, he if he
Oh,
was looking at you
Yeah,
through the glyphs,
if he looked
did
at you,
stuff to you.
if he looked at you
Yeah.
from the tower, it would just bzz,
Yeah,
you know.
it's all very different. There's one that they make the little rivers here turn into lakes of fire, and there's one where it goes around. It puts a black mark on one of the characters and goes around hunting that character down,
Sure.
knowing that if it kills one character, we all lose.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you don't die if one of your players die in this game, you
Yeah.
all lose together.
The,
So these are
the common thread of competitive games is, there's only one way to win and about 10 different ways to lose.
Yeah.
so you can choose between your little things here. This is just confirming, and then it starts off. It tells you how to start. So you put a certain number of these skulls on the buildings, and then this particular setup is going to use some tokens to represent the different caravans. There is a companion. The first player gets it. And now it's telling you where to put all the people, and it does the picture. It's really nicely done. You don't even really, if you're looking closely enough, I can just figure out where it is by the picture.
Yeah. It takes a game to get used to, but it's pretty simple.
Yeah, and
Another thing that you went through in the setup is you get to choose 4 different monsters that you want to fight this game. Each of them is a different tier of difficulty.
yeah,
So you have a monster where you have to fight 2 cards worth of difficulty, 3 cards of difficulty, 4 cards of difficulty, and then the final boss. Once you meet that main quest goal, you have to fight the main beast or main monster somewhere on the map, and he's got 5 cards worth of difficulty to fight from. You need to defeat all of those cards and complete a really difficult, I
first
guess you
you
could
have to
say,
do the quest.
item management quest.
yeah. First, you have to do the quest.
Like
and
our
then
one this
that
game
pulls
was
him out.
yeah.
And then you can defeat him.
Ours was this recent game that we played. We had to collect 20 of these blue
spirit
tokens, and then the monster comes out of the clock tower, and then you got to go get him and then fight him, and he's got 5 cards worth of
Yeah.
really strong attacks that drain your resources, and it is challenging, to
Yes.
say the least. It is a challenging feat.
So here in the game, you're playing the game as you go, and when it's time to do something, you do it in here. So let's say I wanted to fight someone. I push that button down there. I choose which person it is I'm going to fight. We don't have those 2 in the game yet, so let's fight the cross troll. We'll go to battle. And now I get to pick 3 cards, and it's going to tell you what happens. And in the game, different items and powers give you advantages, and the advantages are what you can spend, because they come back every turn, but you need those to make these cards less powerful. And so if I was going to use an advantage, if I'm on or adjacent to a space with at least 1 skull, lose 16 warriors, oh my gosh. But 8 warriors, and then I can say, and sometimes if you do it enough, it can be a good thing. You gain a potion, and if you don't have enough and you can't do it, you could gain a corruption, and you've defeated it. We also have these quests. So this is a dungeon. You go in to the building, and it tells you it's the same kind of deal. You can only do the advantages once in these, but then you go through, and if at any time you can't complete the dungeon because I've run out of people, I can exit the dungeon. There are certain cards that
Just
can get
laughed
rid of
at us.
people. It did. It laughed at us. There's a card that we have that just removes a villain, and so I can actually just look at one of these, hold, remove a foe, and that one's now dead, and it tells you how many there are. I already did the quest. And then we
don't-
do the last bit.
Don't let this. Spencer is flying through
Oh, yeah,
the
I'm flying
app.
through.
Like there
Just
is
to show
so much of the game that is on the board. The app guides you very well, and there's a lot of narrative-driven things that come out of the app.
yeah.
But the amount of time you're spending going through the app is not as much as what like Spencer's given you the quick
Oh, yeah.
flyby.
No,
but
it's maybe a 3 to 1 on board time, app time.
yeah. So at the end of your turn, I think this is what Spencer wants to show you. In order to like start your interaction with the app, you will take one of the skulls from this. I swear, it feels like Clank, man. This game feels like Clank and Mage Knight combined. You take one of these skulls from this bag and you drop it into the clock tower, and there is a chance that it could come out of one of the quadrants.
Came out of one of those.
And it came out over here. And you can decide as the player here which I'm out of my mic range, I'm sorry, but you can decide where you want to place that skull.
Yep.
But it can also store itself in the dark tower, so there may be a time when you have to lift up one of these little doors, and
they all spill out.
Yeah, X amount will spill out, and if you ever come to the point where you have to put 4 skulls on a specific building, then that building gets destroyed, and you are one step closer to losing the game.
The other bit I wanted to mention with the app real quick is you can control the tower separately. So in this part of the app, I can tell it how I want the different things in the tower to turn on, the different sounds it makes. You can rotate it. Each individual set of lights you can control in various ways. And so if you're just showcasing it or just want to play around, because some of the sounds it doesn't make except in that version. And I like the app. I don't have any problem with the app. And they've also said that they're going to support it in perpetuity. So
Forever.
Oh, nice.
yeah. So that's
Great.
about it for the components.
Great.
So final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Sure. So, I think it's enjoyable. I would definitely play it if it's on offer. I won't look for something else to play. It feels very short to me, and by that I mean like we spent a good 2.5 hours playing. It didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
But also just the pacing of the game feels really short. It never feels like you have enough time, which is a very natural thing in every co-op game I've ever played pretty well. But usually, none of the ones I played ever have had a time limit like this one does, and so you can kind of build up to that point and like coast and then the game can last as long as you want. But yeah, I think I would definitely play it again. I definitely enjoyed myself. I think what it does very well. I think my biggest criticisms of it, if any, are just that there are a couple mechanics like the gambling dice that are just
we didn't mention the gambling.
Yeah, it just
no
feel kind of
uses it.
yeah, they just feel kind of added
It's not
on.
even worth it to talk about.
But yeah, I think any issues I have with it pretty well fall into the categorical issues that co-op games tend to have.
Yeah. Hey, what about you?
Yeah, man, it's fun. I thought we played it last night. I invited Spencer over my house last night, and he's like, "Hey, should I bring any games?" And I was like, "Yeah, surprise me, man." And he comes over with like 4 boxes because he's got all the
Game.
expansions. And I'm like, "Dude, okay, all right, I'll be a good host." And he cracked it out. It took like 30 minutes to set up because I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't help.
If
Yeah.
more people know how to do it, then it's
Yes.
much faster.
And I was like, okay, I got a few like thematic weird things. I'm not too fond of app-driven things, but we came back again to play it, and I knew what I was doing from the very beginning, and I had such a fantastic time. Everything here is so much fun. This guy, it reminds me of Clank so much. You got the dragon bag here, and it feels like so many wonderful games put together, and I'm a sucker for it now. I really like this game, and everything feels really good. Like when you gain power in this game in some way, there are these little hidden combos that I even discovered this game that I was like, yeah. There was another game we played recently where you just feel like every move you're doing makes you strong, makes you stronger, and it makes you feel like, yeah, I can take that thing. I can take that monster out.
Since we can trade, I can be like, well, I don't need this thing, but if I get it and get it to you, then
Yeah.
you can do the quest.
The trading feels a little cheap, but it makes sense.
And it's
like
kind
if
of
you
important.
are in the same spot, then it would make sense that you can trade everything because you could like
Yeah.
I could come over to your house and you could give me every board game you own. But like it just felt kind of weird when we were both on the same spot and I'm just like dumping my player board onto was it your board
I
to
think
get
it
all the
was, yeah,
spirit.
yeah.
But that's fine because it's a cooperative game. So maybe I just lean more towards competitive games. But this game is a blast. I'm glad that there's such success behind it. I'm excited to see the new characters.
Oh yeah, so we have the
because-
expansion. It adds 2 new characters.
Yeah.
It adds colored skulls. That
Well, they
want to
make
even
even more.
They
right?
have another one that I think is already through Kickstarter, so
Yeah.
look for it on Backer Kit, I think.
Yeah.
And it adds 4 new characters, which I got to see some of, and are really cool. Like one that messes around with the haggle die, one that
Mm-hmm.
messes around with the corruptions, and yeah,
Yeah.
they're going.
It's a great time.
overboard.
It's a great time, and the more they add to the app, the sky is the limit. You could change a character here to do something completely different based on what the app says
Yep.
it can do.
Yeah, and
so
since it's an app that connects to the internet, sometimes it'll update and it'll say, look, this character we need to do some tweaks with. And so they're able to make certain that it's got the right success rate that they want and get rid of any bugs,
Yeah.
update it. They're even talking about possibly adding new quests and things. And I'm like, oh, I love it.
yeah, I mean, a developer could wake up in the middle of the
Yeah.
night and think of a cool quest, and boom, a week later it's in. So, very impressed with the app. Very impressed with the game. Would totally play it again if Spencer dragged it over to my house, even though I wanted to play something else, and he drops it on my table.
I'll remember that.
Damn it.
So I love this game.
Of course, this is going to be the
course.
shortest final
It's gonna be-
thoughts for you.
yeah.
You love it.
There's not much to say that's bad except it's slightly long setup time.
Yeah.
But normally it's because I'm setting up with people who haven't played.
I did come up with one piece of criticism,
Oh, sure.
and that is there is a lot of downtime between your turns
Yeah.
That can be, especially
where
in
you
the
have
4-player.
nothing to do.
When we were in the 2-player, there really was not
Yeah.
much downtime. So 2 to 3 players might be the perfect amount for this.
Yeah. Well, I think 4 players is the perfect because there are 4 areas.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But I just wish there was some element of interactivity, something you could do on your turns, or not on your turns, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That way, you're not just like,
Sitting there watching.
come on, Andrew,
Yeah.
finish up your turn
Yeah,
already.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't have much else to say except this game is awesome.
All right.
Yeah. So we're going to give it ratings.
I had a really good time.
So normally we would throw this to Dan, but Dan's not here. So I guess I'll do the ratings
Yeah.
thing. We are going to give this a rating 1 to 10. We do the 0.5s as well. And this is so that we're going to average them together so the BGG can get one number that's going to be the official Board Game Rundown ranking of this game. And that's basically it.
Sure. It's pretty simple.
Yep. So
3 numbers, average.
Oh,
Caleb.
no, I veto. You start first.
Oh, you want me to start first?
Yes. We'll bring down your average of a 10.
I haven't thought about this at all. I have to think about it.
Oh, okay, okay. Better think fast. So yes,
That's when
this
I do
is
my best thinking.
Second ever 10. Anything that's bad in this game.
What was your first 10?
The first one was Lockdown, Nemesis Lockdown.
Okay.
Anything that was bad in those games, in this game or that one, like length of setup or things like that, is
Yeah.
mitigated by just how much fun I have playing the game. And it's worth breaking out. And I've played this with people, with my kids. I've played this with people who are non-gamers. And yeah, they've all had a great time playing it.
It is
So
easy to
this is my
teach.
10. It is easy
It
to
is
teach. This
not
thing,
that weighty.
no.
If you are not interested in like 3 and above weights, this is not a heavy game, even though it looks daunting.
So what's your ranking?
I love a game where I can go like, oh my gosh, it happened. And this is one of those games. Like there were multiple times where I threw up my hands and I was just either pissed or excited that something happened.
Yeah.
So any game that can do that for me gets at least an 8.5. So I don't do this for co-op games, but I would like to play more. But I'm going to give it a 9 because I came back wanting to play it again.
All
We were
right.
supposed to just review this game from last night,
Yeah.
Spencer and my.
I
And
was
I even
setting it up.
suggested, as Spencer was setting it up, I said, "Why don't we just play it again?"
I didn't make the suggestion. It was all you.
Yeah. And then I came back and I'm like, Spencer's going to take that to heart. I'm going to come back
Oh,
from
yeah.
the bathroom and this game's going to be fully set up. And he ran with it. It's a 9. I would say this is a 9. This is a fantastic time.
All right.
So I think I'm going to come down and give it a solid 8. I love
okay.
I love the theme of it. Really, the theme captured me. I'm a huge fantasy nerd, so I love the theme of it. The components are amazing. The mechanics are really good. I just think that between the battery life on the tower, the downtime between turns, and just how hard it kicks your teeth in sometimes. I mean, it's a co-op game.
Sometimes it
Yep.
can be
Yeah.
very brutal. Sometimes
Um,
not so much.
You know, and sometimes it just feels like, why am I even playing this game? Yeah, it just kind of hurts a lot. But overall, I think it's a great game. It's definitely above average. I would certainly play it again. But I just don't think it has. It's just missing a couple things to make it, you know,
Sure.
a truly amazing game for me.
Yeah.
So you average our scores together, and we have a 9, which is an amazing score.
It's a good game.
Yes,
It
it's
is.
a good game. I recommend getting it if you can, or finding a friend who has it, or
Yeah, you do
bugging
not
your,
need 2 friends in the same group that have this game.
yeah, or bugging your local game store, yeah, to
Yeah.
carry it. So that's about it. So for the board game rundown, I'm Spencer,
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Caleb.
and this is Return to Dark Tower.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.